In a world so accustomed to violence and brutality, their suffering has stunned us all. These are the people of Bosnia-Herzegovina, the victims of the most vicious campaign of mass murder in Europe since Nazi Germany. A little less than a year ago, the people of Bosnia dreamt of creating the freest and most tolerant state in all of Europe. Today, the evils of ethnic cleansing have turned them into some of the most helpless people on earth. What the world sees are the dead and the dying.
Confusion near the rope barricades was getting worse, and hundreds of car sevaks threatened the police cordon. Movement into the masjid, and I could see the car sevaks make their way straight to the top with no resistance at all from the security forces.
With a couple of sentences. In spite of the impressive gains made in science and technology, it's a pity that like cancer, which is not detected, religious fundamentalism is also spreading fast and dangerously. Some days back, we had the spectacle of fundamentalists barging into a show organized by the Sahmat in Bombay and destroying an exhibition which was exhibiting cartoons already published in various newspapers after the Babri Masjid episode. In Bangladesh, the religious fundamentalists are out for the blood of the woman author who has become controversial after writing her Lajja. In America, Christian fundamentalists are trying to bomb abortion clinics. But the highest award in this field should go to Iran, you know. Iran is crazy about football. They are directly telecasting the World Cup matches, but the audience, you know, by some camera trick, the audience in Iran for these football matches are made to appear fully clothed. See, there are no topless males, there are no women wearing shorts or anything like that. By some trick, the audiences are fully clothed as if it is the thick of winter in America, though the temperature is, as we all know, is in the high 30s and early 40s in America, because they don't want to show women and men wearing the minimum clothes in Iran. This is the different kind of religious fundamentalism which frowns on any kind of independent thinking and is ready to physically assault people who don't agree with them on their own version of what is history, what is religion, and things like that. There are 4 distinguished speakers in this panel. I shall make a very brief introductions of them. They shall talk on the subject for 15 minutes. After 12 minutes, I shall sound a warning which shall allow them time to sum up. And then, after the 4 speakers had finished, there will be a question and answer session. The questions, of course, will be from the audience. They should be brief, to the point, because Indian journalists don't ask questions. They ask Times of India editorial kind of things, you know. I hope such a thing won't happen here. So we'll have short, brief, pointed questions addressed to individual speaker, and I'm sure we are all going to have a lively session. Now, the speakers are as follows. Father Myron Pereira, who is to my left, is a Christian priest belonging to the Jesuit religious order. For several years, he worked at the Xavier Institute of Communications, Bombay, as a communications teacher, writer, and producer of audio-visual material. On communalism and religious stereotypes, he has produced, along with others, 2 media kits titled Partly True and Wholly False and Stri Katha. Father Pereira lives at St. Mary's, Mazgaon, from where he edits Jeevan, the National Jesuit Monthly, and directs the Jesuit Office of Information and Public Relations. We also have Dr. Vasudev Vyas, visiting professor of Hindi and Ayurveda for over 40 years at the Podar College, Bombay. Dr. Vyas is a Vaid by profession, and he has made a deep study of the subject under discussion. Next to him is Dr. Zakir Naik, again an MBBS man from Grant Medical College. He is the Secretary General of an institution called Islamic Research Foundation. He is a student of comparative religion, and I am told he can quote verbatim copious passages from all the religious books, including Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. The final speaker is Mr. Ashok Sahani, who has the distinction of translating the controversial book Lajja into Marathi. So we have four speakers of different caliber, different categories. It's going to be a very interesting discussion. I now request Father Pereira to start off, or in the football parlance, to kick off.
Thank you, Mr. Gangadhar. Dear friends, the proposition before us has been stated: religious fundamentalism is an obstacle to freedom of speech. Put in these terms, one can answer quite simply and quite quickly, yes. And after that, there is no more discussion. But if one were to do this, of course, it's very misleading, because I think what's important to understand, and I think a group like this is very well equipped to understand, is why is it that at the close of the 20th century, we have a resurgence of religious fundamentalism? Just when we thought that it should be an age of science and technological progress and, well, in every sense of the word, how is it that religion has come back again to the fore, to the headlines of today's papers, and even more, an aspect of religion which we thought had already died decades ago, religious fundamentalism? Not only that, every major religion has its fundamentalists. The context of today's meeting is the Muslim fundamentalism and the wave of attacks against Taslima Nasreen in Bangladesh, and the instances of that in Pakistan and all over the Muslim world. Yes, but there's also Hindu fundamentalism, there's also Christian fundamentalism, there's also Zionist Jewish fundamentalism. I think perhaps I haven't come across Buddhist fundamentalism yet, but Sikh fundamentalism also. So this is not only a religious phenomenon, but a political phenomenon. And that is, I think, an important thing that we'd like to get behind today in today's discussion. So what I want to do now is not to talk about Christian fundamentalism. That, as I said to some of the organizers a little while ago, is not a relevant political problem in this country. If you were in America, obviously we would talk about that. Here it is not important. However, what is important, I think, is to understand the mindset of the fundamentalists. And I'm going to put before you a few points to help to elucidate this. I hope you will come back a little later with questions on what I'm going to say. Fundamentalism is the strict adherence to orthodox religious beliefs and traditions. So it's a strict clinging to, adherence to orthodox religious beliefs and traditions. It's a definition from the Oxford Dictionary. Such as, whatever, the inerrancy of scripture is one, or a literal interpretation of the scriptures is another, and so on. Now, the religious attitude per se is not necessarily fundamentalist. I think this is an important point which has got to be stressed. The fact that you are a religious person need not be, and generally speaking has not been, that you are a fundamentalist. Because otherwise, usually the arguments of most secularists are, if you're a religious person, therefore by that very fact you're fundamentalist, and this is false. I'm a religious person, but I'm not a fundamentalist in any sense of the word. And there are countless others like me, whether Hindus, Muslims, etc. So there are liberal traditions in every religion, and there are oppressive traditions in every religion. So what I'm saying now, and the first point is that every religion has the capacity to liberate individuals and communities